This semester I've had the opportunity to work with three 8th grade boys at Eastern High School in Lansing. They have similar interests that include football, basketball, and video games like Fortnite and Black Ops 4. The students were always receptive to the strategies that I attempted to implement throughout the semester, even in the early weeks when I struggled to find effective strategies that they enjoyed. All of the students have different literacy experiences. Student 1 has read The Maze Runner already and reads more books than the other two students do. He was always the most willing to volunteer to read, and it was easy to see that he liked to be actively engaged in the activities, whether that be sticky notes or KWL charts. Student 2 was always quiet but seemed to absorb information really effectively. He told me that he went to a church once a week at night where he engaged in reading and even some writing. Student 3 had already seen the Maze Runner movie. He does not really seem to enjoy sitting down and reading a book, but does use social media a lot and probably receives and sends hundreds of texts a day. It seems that he does not mind reading literature that interests him. I also found out that he can comprehend the book really well simply through listening. He, like the other two students, generally engage in activities with a focused and open mind. The main idea that I learned is that comprehension can be attained through many different ways. None of the three students necessarily enjoyed reading in a school context. Textbooks were boring to them and they did not like to read them. More specifically, all students said that they struggled with learning math concepts using the textbook that they have. Student 1 said that history was his favorite subject. Student 2 and 3 did not necessarily have a favorite subject, but they seemed to gravitate more towards history and English type classes. For Student 1, living with a foster mom who has a large bookcase perhaps has given him access to books, and he said that she encourages him to read. However, as I mentioned before, it seems to me that he does generally enjoy reading as long as it is of some interest and excitement to him. Student 2, as mentioned before, has a night where he goes to a church once a week and participates in literacy practices, whether that be reading or writing. The way he talked about it made it seem like he really enjoyed it. Student 3 never really opened up to me about his home life, and I did not want to overstep my boundaries, but I did not sense that he did a lot of reading or writing at home or was encouraged to do so. It was interesting for me to find out that all three students struggled with finding the purposes for reading listed on the modified cognitive model. Student 2 also struggles at times with language comprehension. In addition, there was a minimal understanding of reading strategies to help them comprehend the material. As far as strengths are concerned, all students were proficient in the fundamental aspects of reading and building up background information. The most important piece of knowledge that I gained was that I could use their strengths to build up their weaknesses, like finding a purpose using strategies like KWL charts and comparison activities that related to their interests, like football, Fortnite, and basketball. By incorporating their real-world interests into activities, I noticed an obvious increase in interest and excitement that translated to better conversations and a far deeper understanding of the novel and its characters. Overall, I learned that several different literacy strategies can be used in order to improve on weaknesses. I definitely was not perfect this semester, but I feel that I made progress as a teacher. I was able to learn about the interests, literacy practices, and strengths and weaknesses of three students and make a concerted effort to help them develop as literacy learners.